Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty ambitious. We've got this source material, a list of 100 financial tips.
100. Yeah, it's kind of overwhelming when you first see it.
Right. And the claim is these tips help someone achieve financial independence and, get this, retire at 24.
24! I mean, that number just stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? It sounds, well, almost impossible.
Totally. And the source points out something interesting. Most people, apparently, only use maybe 5 money tips their whole lives. Save a bit, maybe pay down debt.
Yeah, the standard stuff. Save 10%, pay off the credit card eventually. But this list, it's packed with stuff that's way more radical. The promise here isn't just tweaking things, it's a potential complete overhaul of your finances.
Okay, so that's our mission then. Let's unpack this. We're not looking for the usual advice. We want the extreme strategies, the nonconformist stuff that actually makes retiring at 24 even theoretically possible.
Exactly. And before we even touch spreadsheets or investment charts, the source material really hammers home one foundational point: mindset.
Ah, okay. Always starts there, doesn't it?
It really does. If you go into this thinking, oh, financial freedom, that's for other people, rich people, then yeah, it is. That belief just caps your potential right from the start.
Because you won't do the hard
You
things.
won't. You won't put in the effort, learn the complex skills, or, frankly, endure the discomfort needed for such a, well, radical outcome. You have to believe it's possible for you first.
Okay, so belief first. That leads straight into the first big idea.
Yeah.
Defining your financial North Star. This is about the why, right?
Precisely. It's connecting the emotional drive with the actual numbers. Why so critical, especially when the path is going to be, let's face it, really hard?
Because it's not just a walk in the park.
Not at all. I mean, think about the effort needed to earn 5 years' worth of income in 1 year, like the source suggests is possible, or to actually maintain a 75% savings rate for years.
Yeah.
It's exhausting,
Yeah.
mentally, physically.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The source is blunt about it. Without a really strong, personal, compelling reason driving you through that initial phase of extreme effort, you'll likely just fail.
The first hurdle, the first time you feel deprived or left out.
Exactly. Job loss, market dip, friends going on fancy vacations. If that why isn't rock solid, you'll quit. It has to be more powerful than the friction.
So it can't be vague like, I want to be rich. It needs to be super specific, something you can picture.
Yeah, like really picture it. Having the time to homeschool your kids without financial stress. Or, buying that small farm you've always dreamed of. Or maybe it's traveling the world while you're young enough to, like, climb mountains and not just sit on a tour bus.
Trading the daily grind stress for a concrete, rewarding future vision.
Yes, and that vision directly feeds into the practical side. Calculating your freedom number. This is where lots of people get kind of tripped up.
Thinking they need $1 million or 5 million or some huge number.
Right. They pick a big, round, generic number. But the source argues your freedom number isn't fixed. It's tied directly to your desired lifestyle, specifically your minimal desired lifestyle, at least initially.
Okay, how do you actually calculate it then? What's the process?
Well, first, you track everything, every penny of your current living expenses. Then comes the radical part. You slash those expenses aggressively, like really aggressively, using the strategies we'll talk about. You figure out the absolute minimum you need to live the life you want.
Okay, so you shrink the target first.
You shrink the target dramatically. That final lowered annual expense number is what you aim for. Then, typically, you multiply that by 25. That's based on the 4% safe withdrawal rate idea. That tells you the portfolio size you need.
So the whole mission shifts from get mega rich to cover my essential, deliberately low costs indefinitely.
Exactly, it flips the script. Instead of chasing a bigger salary forever to fund a lifestyle that keeps inflating, you shrink the lifestyle target first. Suddenly, that freedom number looks much, much smaller, and maybe, just maybe, retiring at 24 starts to seem, well, at least mathematically plausible.
Plausible, if incredibly demanding. Which I guess brings us nicely into section 1, the philosophy of extreme effort and nonconformity.
Yeah, this is the philosophical engine behind the whole thing.
So the core claim here is pretty wild.
Yeah.
You can earn 5 years worth of money in a single year. How does the source even begin to justify that?
It starts with a pretty basic, almost brutal principle: value exchange. Your income is usually tied to the value you provide and how many people you provide it to.
Okay, explain that.
Well, think about it. If you clean office buildings, you're providing value, sure, but it's relatively low value to a small number of people, so the pay reflects that. But if you, say, create a piece of software that helps millions of businesses save time, that's huge value to a massive audience. That leads to high scalable income.
So it's not just about working hard, it's about working hard on something with leverage, something scalable.
Precisely. And that leads to this time compression strategy, or what the source calls front-loading the pain.
Front-loading the pain sounds delightful.
Yeah, doesn't it? But the idea is intense focus for a short burst, maybe 2 years, maybe 5. It means extreme effort, working multiple jobs, building those scalable side hustles every night, every weekend, constantly learning high-value skills.
You're basically sacrificing everything else.
Pretty much. All your free time, leisure, maybe even some sleep. Now, for a short, defined period, you create massive value, build systems, and compress maybe 5 years of normal earning into 1 or 2 intense years. It's designed to be unsustainable long-term.
But the goal is short-term escape velocity.
Exactly. Get out of the gravity well quickly.
Okay, I have to push back a bit here, though. Front-loading the pain sounds great in a blog post, but burnout is incredibly real. People crash and burn trying this stuff. How does the source address the mental and physical cost of working like a maniac while also living super frugally?
Yeah, that's a fair challenge. And it comes back to 2 things: that super strong why we talked about, and the second core idea here, rejecting the average.
Rejecting the average, meaning what exactly?
Meaning you have to consciously decide you don't want what average people have. If you want results that 99% of people don't achieve, you kind of have to assume that what 99% of people do is probably wrong, at least for your goal, especially with money and lifestyle.
Following the crowd leads to the crowd's destination.
Which, according to the source, isn't pretty. They use some pretty stark data points to define average.
Yeah. Like what?
Like the average American being overweight, potentially depressed, definitely broke, and retiring around 65. Which leaves maybe, a few years to enjoy retirement, often with health issues? That's the price of normal, the source argues. The cost of following the accepted path.
Ouch. Okay, so if you want a different result, you have to actively embrace being different, radically different.
Totally. It's a multi-year commitment. We're talking thrift store clothes, driving a beat-up old car you paid cash for, living in a way that might look strange to your friends and family, working different hours, sleeping different hours. It's nonconformity as a strategy.
It's almost like a psychological shield, isn't it? You're not just saving money, you're actively rejecting the whole consumer game.
Exactly. You're signaling to yourself, I'm on a different path. Fitting in leads to being broke at 65, and I don't want that.
Okay, but that level of sustained difference needs structure. It can't just be willpower. Which brings us to systems over goals.
Yes. This is crucial. A simple goal, like I'm going to save $10,000 this year, you might pull that off with sheer willpower for a bit.
But it's not sustainable.
Probably not. If you don't build underlying systems, the automated habits, the routines into your life, that change likely won't stick long term. Systems make success, or at least progress, almost automatic.
And the most critical system mentioned is continuous learning.
Absolutely. It's a huge point. Nobody is born knowing how to budget or earn more or invest wisely. Our schools definitely don't teach it effectively.
So you have to teach yourself.
Constantly reading books, listening to podcasts like this one, maybe taking courses or going to seminars, talking to people who know more than you. It has to be built into your routine, like brushing your teeth. It's not a one and done thing.
One book isn't enough.
Not even close. The moment you stop learning, the world changes, taxes change, markets change, inflation keeps going, and you fall behind. Continuous knowledge acquisition is non-negotiable.
And tying this all together with the urgency needed, there's this tomorrow never comes idea.
Yeah, and there's actually science behind this. Behavioral psychology. If you tell yourself, okay, I'll start budgeting next week, or I'm starting that diet after New Year's,
You're basically giving yourself an out already.
you are. The research shows you're almost guaranteed not to do it. Our brains are masters at procrastinating uncomfortable changes.
So if you decide a change is needed, the action has to start. Like, right now.
Immediately. The moment of decision is the moment of action. Delaying is just a way to rationalize future failure before you even begin. That sense of urgency is vital, which leads us right into the nitty-gritty. Section 2, maximizing savings and mastering frugality.
Okay, the tactical core.
Yeah.
And the headline number here is kind of staggering. A 75% savings rate.
Yeah, 75%. It sounds completely ridiculous, right? The average person saves, what, 5%, maybe 10% if they're doing well?
So 75% feels impossible for most people listening.
It feels impossible, and it is incredibly difficult. It requires years of massive, deliberate life changes. But the source insists this is the key lever to pull if you want to sprint towards that freedom number super fast.
But let's be real here. 75%. If you're earning an average income, especially with debt or kids, saving 75% means living, well, it sounds like misery. How does that square with not sacrificing your health or relationships?
That's the critical nuance. The 75% isn't necessarily about earning $50 and living on $12 and 5Ks in poverty. It's achieved primarily by aggressively attacking the big three expenses.
Okay, the big three: housing, transportation, and food.
Exactly. If you don't crush those three, forget 75%. It's impossible. The high savings rate comes from both boosting the income side, using those scalable ideas we just discussed, and simultaneously demolishing these huge expense categories.
Got it. So let's start with the biggest one: housing. The strategy here is house hacking. Explain that.
House hacking is basically turning your biggest expense into an income source, or at least neutralizing it. The classic way is buying a small multifamily property like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex.
Using a special type of loan.
Yeah, crucially, you use a first-time homebuyer loan. These often let you put down a tiny amount, maybe 3.5% or 5%, instead of the usual 20%. You live in one of the units yourself.
And rent out the others.
Right. And the rent from the other units ideally covers your entire mortgage payment, plus taxes, plus insurance, maybe even puts a little cash in your pocket each month.
So you're using the bank's money good debt and your tenant's rent payments to live for free.
Essentially, yes. You've just eliminated or drastically reduced your single biggest monthly bill. And the source says rinse and repeat.
Meaning, do it again?
Yeah. After a year or two, you move out, keep that first property as a pure rental, and buy another multifamily living in one unit again. You use the equity you've built and the cash flow from the first one to help fund the second. It's a way to rapidly build a real estate portfolio while keeping your personal housing costs at or near zero.
That sounds like a serious financial accelerator.
Yeah.
Okay, big expense number 2, transportation. The strategy is called the free car strategy.
Yeah, free car. It's about sidestepping depreciation, which is the biggest cost of car ownership. The advice is simple. Buy a reliable, maybe 10-year-old used car and pay cash. No car payments.
Okay, cash is key.
Cash is key. You drive it for, say, 1 to 3 years, taking decent care of it. Because it was already old when you bought it, it doesn't depreciate much further. Then you sell it for roughly what you paid for it.
So over those few years, your net cost for the vehicle itself is close to zero. You just paid for gas, insurance, maintenance.
Exactly. You avoid the huge depreciation hit of new cars. You have zero monthly payments eating into your savings rate. The source mentions doing this for a decade, having no car payments at all. That's hundreds, maybe $1,000 a month, freed up.
Freed up to plow into investments. Okay, big three. Number three, food.
Food is a huge, often hidden expense for most people. The rule here, intense meal planning.
Plan like your freedom depends on it.
Pretty much, because throwing away spoiled food because you bought too much or didn't have a plan, that's literally like setting fire to cash. It's braining your freedom fund.
So plan every meal, make a precise shopping list, stick to it.
Yep. Minimize waste down to almost nothing. And obviously, drastically reduce eating out, which costs way more per meal.
Right. Okay, those are the big three. What about the smaller stuff? The death by 1,000 cuts spending. The source calls these low-hanging fruit and consumer hacks, like the cell phone example.
Yeah, the cell phone bill is a perfect example of paying way too much out of habit or misplaced loyalty. People are paying $80, $100 a month, sometimes more.
When there are cheaper options.
Way cheaper. The source mentions plans for like $25 a month that still give you tons of data, hotspot, unlimited talk and text, everything you actually need, often with no contract. Switching is a one-time decision that saves you money every single month effortlessly.
That $75 difference per month is $900 a year. Invested, that really adds up.
Absolutely, and this mindset applies broadly. Cancel subscriptions you don't truly use, especially things like cable TV. The source even suggests watching less TV is probably a good thing if you're trying to front-load the pain and build side hustles anyway.
Then buy generic.
Buy generic everything. This ties back to rejecting the average, rejecting consumerism. Why pay a huge premium for a brand name, which is mostly just marketing cost, when the generic version is often made in the exact same factory? You're paying extra just to signal conformity.
Okay, what about the infamous latte factor or latte tax?
Ah, yes. The daily $5 coffee habit. Switch to black coffee made at home.
Simple enough.
It saves a surprising amount. That $5 a day is over $1,800 a year right there. Plus, potential health benefits from cutting out sugar and milk. The source does add a funny caveat, though.
Which is?
To make the switch stick, you might actually have to become a bit of a coffee snob at home. Get good beans, maybe a decent grinder. Learn to make really good coffee yourself so you don't miss the expensive cafe version.
Oh, okay. Replace the expensive habit with a skillful, cheaper habit. Same goes for packing lunch versus eating out, right? Eating out is like 2-3 times more expensive.
Easily. So meal prepping once a week becomes non-negotiable if you're serious about that 75% savings rate.
Now, moving into sort of smarter consumerism, this one surprised me. Avoid sale items. That sounds backward for being frugal.
It does sound backward, but the logic is about intentionality. Sales are designed to make you buy things impulsively, things you don't really need or even truly want just because they're discounted.
So the rule is only buy things you absolutely love, like 90% plus status.
Yeah. If you only buy things you genuinely love and will use a lot, you end up buying less overall. You avoid the clutter of cheap stuff you never use. It reduces your consumption volume.
And that connects to the cost per use metric.
This is key. Don't just look at the purchase price. Think about how much it costs each time you use it. A high-quality $50 shirt you wear 50 times. That's $1 per wear. A cheap $10 shirt you bought on sale but only wear once because it doesn't fit right or falls apart. That's $10 per wear.
So the cheaper item was actually 10 times more expensive in terms of value.
Exactly. Cost per use forces you to think about quality, longevity, and true utility, which often leads to spending less in the long run.
Okay, couple of quick traps to avoid. Extended warranties and bottled water.
Yeah, extended warranties. Just say no. The source calls them a scam, points out the huge profit margins for retailers because they're rarely needed or used. It's betting against yourself.
And bottled water.
It's insane when you think about it. It costs something like 2,000 times more than perfectly good filtered tap water. Get a good filter system for your home. It pays for itself incredibly quickly.
These all seem like small things, but added together, they make that high savings rate possible. What about automating savings?
Crucial, especially if self-discipline is a weak point. You have to set it up so the money is gone before you even see it or feel like you have it.
Pay yourself first, automatically.
Right. Every payday, have automatic transfers set up to move money directly into your savings or investment accounts. You rob yourself before you have a chance to spend it. Forced discipline is often the most effective kind.
Okay, that covers frugality. Let's shift gears into section 3, mastering debt and gaming the system. Starting with understanding good debt versus bad debt.
This is a really fundamental mindset shift. Most people just think debt is bad. But people who build serious wealth often understand and use debt strategically.
So what's the difference?
Good debt helps you acquire assets that appreciate or generate income. Think a mortgage on a rental property that tenants are paying off for you, or maybe a low-interest business loan to scale operations. Bad debt just consumes your income, high-interest credit cards, car loans for depreciating vehicles, personal loans for stuff you don't need.
If you're already carrying bad debt, what's the payoff strategy?
Mathematically, it's simple. Always attack the highest interest rate debt first. Doesn't matter if the balance is small or large. That 16% credit card costs you way more than the 5% student loans, so kill the 16% debt first. That's the avalanche or snowball method, focusing on interest rate, not balance.
Okay, but then there's the mortgage question. Especially if you have a super low rate, like 3% or 4% from a few years ago, should you pay that off early?
Ah, the great debate. Mathematically, if your mortgage is at 3-4% and you expect the stock market to return, say, 8-10% long term on average, it makes more sense to invest the extra money rather than pay down the cheap mortgage. You capture that difference, that spread.
Makes sense on paper, but
But, and this is a huge but the source emphasizes, math isn't everything. There's the mental side, the stress factor.
right, some people just hate having any debt hanging over them.
Exactly. Even if it's good debt, like mortgages on rental properties totaling millions, if that debt load causes you significant stress, keeps you up at night, ruins your quality of life, then the math doesn't matter as much. Paying it off, even if mathematically suboptimal, might be the right choice for your peace of mind. You have to weigh the numbers against your personal risk tolerance and stress levels.
That's a really important point. Okay,
Hey.
avoiding debt traps. Debt consolidation, good idea or bad idea?
It can be okay, but there's a huge warning attached. Do not consolidate your debt unless you've already fixed the underlying behavior that got you into debt in the first place.
Because otherwise,
Otherwise, you get this temporary relief from the consolidation loan, but you haven't changed your spending habits. So you just run the credit cards back up again, and now you've got the original debt plus the consolidation loan. You need the systems change first.
right. And obviously, avoid predatory stuff like payday loans.
Oh, yeah. Financial death traps charging insane interest rates, like 400%. The best defense against ever needing those is having that solid emergency fund.
That 3 to 6 month buffer.
Yep. That fund is your insurance against panic decisions when life throws you a curveball job loss, medical bill, car repair. It stops you from resorting to bad debt.
Now, let's talk about using credit smartly. Gaming the system with credit card rewards.
This can be quite lucrative, but requires discipline. It's about strategically signing up for credit cards that offer big sign-up bonuses, points, or cash back, often worth hundreds of dollars.
Just for hitting a minimum spend in the first few months.
Right. You hit that minimum spend on your normal expenses, collect the bonus, and then maybe you keep the card if it has ongoing value, or maybe you cancel it before the annual fee hits, especially if you just wanted the bonus. The source mentioned getting like a dozen free flights this way.
Turning bank marketing budgets into free travel. Nice. But there's a massive caveat here, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely non-negotiable golden rule. If you cannot or do not pay off your credit card balance in full every single month, Do not play this game. Cut up the cards immediately.
Because the interest kills any rewards.
It annihilates them. Losing 20–30% interest on debt completely dwarfs any 1 extra 5% rewards you might get, or even average 10% stock market gains. You simply cannot out-earn high-interest consumer debt. Pay it off. Every month. No exceptions.
Got it. Lastly, in this section, negotiation power. We talked about it with cars, but what about services?
Negotiate everything. Bank fees. Challenge them or switch banks. Gym membership. Ask for a better rate. But the big one the source highlights is recurring bills like internet or cable.
What's a tactic?
Call them up. Politely say you're planning to cancel because you found a better deal elsewhere, even if you haven't actively looked yet. Very often, the retention department will suddenly offer you a much better deal, half price, faster speeds, just to keep you as a customer. They have budgets for this. You just have to ask.
Use their fear of losing you to your advantage. Okay, that covers debt and systems. And section 4, scaling income and investing. Frugality gets you partway, but you need growth too.
Absolutely. You can only cut expenses so much. To really accelerate things, especially to retire at 24, you need to significantly increase the income side. And this starts with a mindset from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, work to learn, not just to earn.
Meaning focus on jobs that teach valuable skills, even if the starting pay isn't the absolute highest.
Exactly. Early in your career, prioritize roles where you'll learn high-value, transferable skills, things like sales, digital marketing, coding, project management, communication. These skills will allow you to earn way more money long-term than just chasing the biggest initial paycheck in a dead-end job.
Okay, and this ties into side hustles, distinguishing between scalable and unscalable ones.
Yeah, this is key. Unscalable side hustles are usually based on trading your time directly for money, often at an hourly rate. Think driving for Uber, delivering food, cleaning houses. There's a hard ceiling because you only have so many hours in a day.
Whereas scalable hustles.
Scalable hustles separate your time from your earning potential. They might take effort to set up and maybe make zero money initially, but they have the potential for exponential growth because they can reach many people or operate without your direct minute-to-minute involvement.
Like the example from the source, posting text on YouTube.
Right. It sounds weird, but the idea was creating simple, shareable content that algorithms could push to a huge audience, 99% non-followers. One piece of content, maybe low effort to create, could suddenly generate $150 plus because the system reached people, not because the author spent hours actively working on that specific post's income. Think online courses, ebooks, software, niche websites with ads.
Building assets that work for you. And the ultimate goal is multiple streams of income.
Definitely. Don't rely solely on your main job, your W-2 income. Build other streams. Rental income from house hacking, investment income from index funds, earnings from your scalable side hustle. That diversification makes losing any single income stream like your main job much less catastrophic. It's resilience.
Now, a point that finance people apparently miss: budgeting time.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it? We track every dollar, but our most valuable, non-renewable asset time often just disappears without us noticing.
So track your time like you track your money.
For a week or two at least, meticulously, block by block, see where it's actually going, how many hours on social media, how much TV, which activities are actually generating value, income, skills, health, happiness, and which are just time sinks. It forces you to be honest.
And this leads to assigning yourself a high hourly value, like $100 or even $1,000 an hour.
It sounds a bit woo-woo maybe, but the psychology works. If you truly believe your time is, we'll say, $100 an hour, it changes your behavior. Well, you start thinking, is spending 2 hours watching this dumb reality show worth $200? Probably not. Is spending an hour learning a skill that could earn me more with $100? Absolutely. It pushes you to ditch low-value activities and focus on high-value ones.
And focus on your strengths.
Yes. This goes against school conditioning, which tells us to fix our weaknesses. For making money and building value, the source argues you should lean hard into what you're naturally good at. That's where you'll create the most value and potentially scale. Outsource or avoid the stuff you're bad at or hate doing.
Okay, let's talk investing fundamentals. The advice seems refreshingly simple. Indexing and automation.
Keep it super simple. Forget trying to pick hot stocks or time the market. Just consistently invest in low-cost, broad-based index funds. The S&P 500 is the classic example. Look for funds with super low expense ratios, like under 0.1%.
Right, index funds.
Because decades of data show they outperform the vast majority of actively managed funds, where managers try to pick winners over the long term, especially after fees. It's the most reliable path for most people.
And automate the investing process. Dollar cost averaging, or DCA. Explain that simply.
DCA just means investing the same fixed dollar amount on a regular schedule, say every week or every month, and no matter what the market is doing. When prices are high, your fixed amount buys fewer shares. When prices are low, market dips, that same fixed amount buys more shares.
So it smooths out the bumps and forces you to buy low.
Exactly. It removes emotion and timing guesses from the equation. You just build wealth steadily over time, set up automatic investments, and let them run.
And actively avoid emotional investing.
Please. Checking your portfolio constantly, panicking during downturns, chasing hot trends, that's usually a recipe for losing money. If you find yourself getting emotional about market swings, maybe stop looking so often. Remember, this is a long-term game, decades usually. Daily noise doesn't matter for your freedom number.
Okay, revisiting real estate quickly. The three-step house hack for the long game.
Yeah, this connects back. The idea is you do that house hack strategy maybe 2 or 3 times in your early aggressive saving years. Live in the properties, fix them up a bit, build equity, get tenants paying down the mortgages.
And then,
After maybe 3-5 years of doing that, the combined equity, cash flow, and appreciation from those first few properties can potentially be enough to buy your long-term dream home outright, or at least significantly fund it without you needing to work a traditional job anymore just to pay for your primary residence. That initial sacrifice directly builds your future home base.
powerful. But even before stocks or real estate, the source claims the best investment is investment in yourself.
Hands down, highest ROI. Think about it. $1,000 in the stock market might earn you $100 in a good year, 10%. But $1,000 invested in learning a skill, maybe a coding boot camp, a sales course, a copywriting workshop that allows you to earn an extra $100 per month.
You make your investment back in less than a year.
Exactly. And then that skill keeps paying you, potentially indefinitely, and likely more as you get better. Read the books, listen to the audiobooks like Audible, take the courses, watch the free YouTube tutorials. Never stop learning skills that increase your earning power.
And finally, as income grows, especially from business or investments, you must learn about taxes.
Oh, absolutely critical. Tax optimization is not tax evasion. It's legally structuring your affairs to pay the minimum required by law. The average person way overpays because they don't understand the rules, especially the different rules for business owners and investors versus regular employees.
The source gives a specific example. LLC versus S Corp. How does that save money?
Okay, simplifying a bit, but once your small business, like a side hustle, starts making decent profit, say over 60K, 80K, operating as a standard LLC means you typically pay self-employment tax, that's Social Security and Medicare, around 15.3% on all the profit. Yeah. But if you elect to be taxed as an S Corp, you're still an LLC legally, just taxed differently. The rules allow you to pay yourself a reasonable salary from the profits. You pay regular payroll taxes, including that 15.3%, only on that salary portion.
And the rest of the profit.
The remaining profit can be taken as a distribution, which is not subject to that 15.3% self-employment tax. It's only subject to regular income tax. So if your business makes $150K profit and you pay yourself an $80K salary, you save that 15.3% tax on the other $70K distribution. That can easily be tens of thousands in savings per year.
Wow. Okay, that definitely requires talking to a CPA. but huge potential savings.
Huge. It's part of playing the advanced game. Which brings us to Section 5, the advanced game and living the freedom life.
All right, the final stretch, leveraging other people's money, or OPM.
OPM is really just good debt in action, often on a larger scale. It's about controlling valuable assets with as little of your own cash tied up as possible, maximizing your return on investment.
Like the example given, buying a $200,000 property with only $6,500 down.
Exactly. That's extreme leverage. You use $6,500 of your money to control a $200,000 asset. The other $193,500 is OPM, the bank's money via the mortgage.
And if that property value goes up
The
significantly,
return on your actual cash invested, $6,500, is massive. If the property doubles to $400, you've essentially turned $6.05K into over $200 in equity, largely thanks to leverage and market appreciation and tenants paying the debt. That's how wealth can be built rapidly, though it comes with risks, of course.
which highlights the focus on cash flow over just paper net worth.
Yes, net worth can swing wildly with the markets. What really buys freedom, the ability to travel, quit your job, live life on your terms, is reliable, consistent cash flow hitting your bank account each month from your investments, rentals, or businesses. Focus on building that passive or semi-passive income.
And speaking of markets, a warning about chasing trends.
Yeah, if you're reading about the hot new investment trend on CNN or seeing it all over TikTok, you're probably late to the party.
The big money got in early.
The smart money, the institutional money, they likely got in way earlier. Now they might be waiting for retail investors like us to pile in so they can sell off their positions at a profit. Don't be their exit liquidity. Stick to your boring, long-term plan with index funds.
Okay, we need that inflation reality check again. It's easy to forget how much it eats away at savings.
It's crucial to understand. The source used figures showing that $100,000 earned in January 2020 had the buying power of roughly $124,000 by April 2025 due to inflation.
So if your salary didn't go up 25% in those 5 years,
You effectively took a 25% pay cut in terms of what your money can actually buy. That's why just saving cash in a bank account is a losing strategy long term. You have to invest to outpace inflation.
and to handle career risks and opportunities, build a freedom fund, different from the emergency fund.
Yeah, slightly different purpose. The emergency fund is for unexpected negative events. The Freedom Fund, maybe another 3-6 months of expenses, is capital set aside specifically to enable positive strategic risks, like having the cushion to quit a toxic job without another one lined up immediately, or moving across the country for a dream job opportunity, or taking a temporary pay cut to join a startup with huge potential equity, or funding your own business launch. It buys you options and negotiating power.
And options lead to maybe the most powerful accelerator, geo-arbitrage.
Geo-arbitrage, love this concept. It's simply earning money in a high cost of living area, like a remote job based in San Francisco or New York, but choosing to live in a low cost of living area.
Could be elsewhere in the U.S. or even another country.
Absolutely. If
Yeah.
you earn a $150 San Francisco salary, but you move to, say, Portugal or parts of Mexico or Southeast Asia, or even just a cheaper state in the U.S. where your living costs might be half or even a third of SF, your savings rate explodes.
You hit your freedom number way faster.
Dramatically faster. You might find you're already financially independent based on the cost of living somewhere else and just didn't realize it.
Okay, future-proofing skills.
Mm.
Learn AI.
Seems unavoidable now, doesn't it? AI is changing everything. Understanding it, learning how to use its tools in your work or side hustles will be a massive advantage. Ignoring it will likely put you at a disadvantage pretty quickly.
And build a personal brand.
Yeah.
Online presence.
Yeah. Increasingly important. Future employers, clients, collaborators, they're going to Google you. Having a professional online presence, maybe showcasing your skills or interests, builds credibility. It can also become another potential income stream itself if you build an audience.
All right, we're near the end. The final, maybe most crucial piece, Defining enough.
This is huge psychologically. If you don't consciously decide what enough looks like for you, that specific freedom number based on your desired, potentially frugal lifestyle, you'll just keep chasing more money forever.
The hedonic treadmill.
Exactly. And that chasing often leads to lifestyle inflation.
Explain that quickly.
You get a raise, so you immediately upgrade your car, buy a bigger house, start dining at fancier restaurants. Your expenses rise to meet or even exceed your new income. You're making more, but you're not actually getting wealthier or less stressed. Sometimes you end up more financially precarious than before the raise.
So defining enough puts a ceiling on that, allows you to actually enjoy the wealth you build.
It lets you step off the treadmill. It allows your stress levels to genuinely decrease because the finish line is defined and achievable.
And focusing on experiences over things.
Always. The fancy car brings fleeting joy. The trip you took with your family, the skills you learned, the time spent on hobbies, those create lasting memories and fulfillment. Things depreciate. Experiences appreciate in value over time in your memory.
And crucially, don't wreck your life getting there. Maintain health and relationships.
Yes. What's the point of having millions if you've destroyed your health or alienated your family to get it? Money is a leading cause of divorce. The source strongly advises against sacrificing health, family, or key relationships just to reach financial independence a bit faster. It's okay to slow down slightly to maintain balance. You don't want to spend the second half of your life spending your money trying to buy back the health you ruined in the first half.
A powerful reminder. So the final synthesis from the source is that money is just a tool.
Exactly. It's not inherently good or bad, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used skillfully for great things or poorly with disastrous results.
It buys happiness mainly by buying freedom.
Yeah. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, who you spend it with, what you work on, that's what most people really value. And money is the tool that unlocks that freedom.
And the way to stop stressing about money is to actually learn about it.
Counterintuitive, maybe, but yes. Ignoring it doesn't reduce stress. Learning about it, understanding it, mastering like any other important skill, that's how you gain control and reduce the anxiety around it. Get good with the tool.
Okay, so that brings us to the final provocative thought for everyone listening. We've just unpacked, I don't know, maybe not all 100, but a ton of powerful tips and mindsets that supposedly led someone to retire at 24.
Yeah, from house hacking and escort to cost per use and geo arbitrage, we've covered a lot of ground.
And we know the statistic. Something like 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Why?
Well, the source suggests it's one of two reasons. Either people genuinely don't know this stuff, they haven't been exposed to these ideas or strategies,
Right.
or they do know it, maybe they've heard some of it before, maybe they've listened to this entire deep dive, and they simply fail to take action.
So for you listening right now, the knowledge gap is probably closing, or maybe it's closed. You're now in that informed group.
The only question left is, what are you going to do? Will you actually implement the systems, make the changes, endure the front-loaded pain, the temporary discomfort required to get those radically different, non-average results?
Because knowing isn't enough. The path requires action. And that commitment, if you're going to make it, really has to start right now.